Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. The All Progressives Congress Party, the ruling party in Nigeria, has been in the news lately. From state primaries fallout to intra-party crisis and even calls for the resignation of the party's chairman, Adams Oshiomhole. Joining us now to discuss these issues from our Abuja studio is the party's National Publicity Secretary, Lanre Issa-Onilu. Lanre, welcome to the morning show.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning, Lanre. Yes, good to see you. Now, your party seems to be in turmoil. Yesterday, even women within the party were protesting at the party secretariat. There were all kinds of groups for and against the party chairman, Adams Oshiomhole. Groups accusing Adams Oshiomhole, the national party chairman, of incompetence. Do you think that your chairman, Adams Oshiomhole, can survive this?
Well, we are not saying what you're saying. APC is not in crisis, neither is it in turmoil. This is politics, and politics is about canvassing of interest, mounting pressure to ensure what you care for or what you want is what is obtainable. But in some cases, it may not be what is obtainable. And then you have a right to push that interest. And in doing that, it is not crisis in politics. Those are issues that have strengthened democracy. The right to protest, the right to hear your view, the right to canvass your interest. This is what is going on. It's not crisis at all. It also actually shows that APC allows people to ventilate their anger. You have a right to be angry, but we have a very solid and robust internal conflict resolution mechanism to deal with all of these issues. And so we are at peace. We don't have such turmoil anywhere near the party.
You are saying that the APC is at peace, but there have been fallouts from the primaries. There's even a story out there alleging that the National Working Committee of the party, rather than run a successful primaries, across the country, disrupted the process. In Zamfara, in Osun State, in Delta, in Taraba, in other states of the Federation. And there are governors, out there who are saying that Oshiomhole must go. You call that peace or war?
Well, I would not see it the way you are seeing it. You mentioned a number of states. Most of those states don't have the issues you are talking about. You have 36 states in this country, and we had primaries for about 29 governorship positions, for about 360 House of Reps positions, 109 senators, aspirants, positions were up for grabs. And then you have about over 800 House of Assembly positions to contend with. When you have all of this, and then you have 2-3 states where there are issues. I thought the media should be commending APC. And then when you have issues that has to do with contest, of course, there will be issues that will arise from that. What is important is how do we deal with those issues. And I think it's just normal that where you have 2-3 people bidding for just one thing, there will be issues. There will be winners, there will be losers. But so it's not everybody that has the capacity to soak defeat in. People will react different ways, but does the party have the capacity to resolve these matters and come out stronger? We do. We have done that repeatedly.
Well, let me put it to you this way. I mean, you keep insisting that there is no problem within the party. But the governor of Osun State is protesting. The governor of Ondo State is protesting. The governor of Zamfara is protesting. The governor of Imo State is protesting. In Rivers State, you have had mass defections from the party on account of the primaries. In Kaduna State, there are issues. You have also had in Delta State mass defections from the APC on account of what is alleged to be the lack of transparency in the primaries conducted by the APC, and what they claim was the overbearing influence of the chairman of the party. Are you aware of these facts?
Yeah, well, you mentioned about 4 or 5 states.
No, I can give you more examples.
Let me tell you that, no problem. But let me tell you clearly that in each of these states, the issues are not the same. And for Ogun, for instance, what happened there is just a clear case of the old system versus the new system, the new order. The new order is about the issues of doing things right, issues of complying with the rules of the game. We had a primary. The governor had his own primary. The governor doesn't have a right to conduct a primary, and he did. The secretary to the state government was actually the person that was the returning officer for that primary. And it was on national TV. It was actually reeling out result until it occurred to him that he didn't have such powers. He handed it over to the state chairman, who also doesn't have the powers under the constitution of APC. It is only the National Working Committee of the party that can conduct such primaries. And besides that, there's a court judgment that has barred the state ESCO in Ogun State from having anything to do with the primaries. We did send down a panel that conducted a primary in Ogun, and the governor's candidate chose not to participate in it, and we don't have a choice than to stand by the outcome of that exercise. So you won't find that in Imo. Imo's case is different. In Imo, the governor has his in-law himself as wanting to go as a senatorial candidate in one of the zones. Yeah, he wants to go into the Senate. And there are rules guiding that. There are other people who also have a right to contest. And we just provided the platform for everybody to have a fair chance of participating in the primaries. And I don't think that should be called, this should not be seen negative. I mean, that should give us some positive and some commendations, from commentators and the media. Similar issues. See, the bottom line is, we all know what has been going on. We know that the governors and some of the party leaders, the issue of godfatherism, and then you want to sit down somewhere and say, you are going to the Senate, you are going to be the governor. But we all know that is not democracy. And the only sin, if I may call it that the national chairman of APC has committed is to insist that let's follow the rules. Let's take power back to the people. Let people have the right to determine who represents them, who govern them. So if that is now what we call a crime that he has committed, well, then we need to ask further questions.
Well, Lanre, let me take you back. Let me take you back to Ogun State, for example. In Ogun State, you said the party chairman had no right to organize the primaries, right? And that only the National Working Committee was duly empowered to do so, and that the APC relied on the outcome as determined by the team sent by the National Working Committee. Now, can you compare and contrast that for me with what happened in Lagos? In Lagos, where the state party chairman conducted the primaries, and the National Working Committee even said that no primaries took place because the National Working Committee was not allowed to do its job. And the National Working Committee relied on the results, on the outcome as determined by the state party chairman and the state machinery. What is different between Lagos and Ogun?
Well, what happened in Lagos is not actually what you have said.
No, that is what Lagos is in the public domain.
Okay, yeah, now I'm going to clear that right now.
Okay, I'm listening.
in Lagos, our team was on ground. Our team was led by Chief Clement Abri. He was on ground in Lagos. We rely on whatever report they give us. They are the people who have the right to go do the primaries. They turned in a report. By the afternoon, the press and confirmed that the team was satisfied with the process. The exercise was good enough for them, and they declared the winner. So it was on ground. It was in Lagos. In this case, it was in Ogun. It was the government of Ogun State that put up the show, and it was a self-help kind of approach. And our constitution does not allow self-help.
Well, if I may say this, maybe you should double-check the facts. In Lagos, the Clement Abri panel actually issued a statement saying that no primaries took place and that whatever was announced by the party in Lagos could not stand. But we were told subsequently that following directives from Abuja, the following day, the same panel came and ate its words and then announced what was handed over to it by the party. So in other words, this is one of the examples that people cite when they accuse the Oshomole-led National Working Committee of double standards. But I don't know whether you want to respond to that. But in the case of...
Okay. Let me respond to that. Yeah, we are not going to the realm of conjecture. That the National Working Committee now breathes down the neck or the shoulder of Clement Abri. Clement Abri was a governor in this country. And you expect that kind of a personality not to be able to come out to say, this is what happened. We have a panel we sent to Lagos. The panel turned in a report. And we trust the people that we put together in that panel. And so the report is valid. Whatever happened, whatever rumor or speculations that are out there, those are not the issues. The issue is, did we have a panel in Lagos? We did. Did the panel turn in a report? They did. He even there was a press conference he addressed. He was the one that announced the result in Lagos. And so, but we are relating that with what happened in Ogun State, where the party had no hand whatsoever in whatever happened. It was the state government that put up the show. It was self-help. The court had barred the state ESCO from having anything to do with the primary. And you have the SSG, the secretary to the state government, announcing the results, and then passed it on to the state chairman, who was statutorily barred from being part of the show. So it was self-help, to put it mildly. And there's no way that will stand. And we still gave the opportunity because the stakeholders, just as we requested from every state, that stakeholders should sit down. The majority should decide the mode of primaries they want. Do you want direct? Do you want indirect primary? They wrote us from Ogun State that they wanted direct primary. And then we empaneled a team to go and do that primary. And they carried out the primary. But the preferred candidate of the governor chose not to participate in that. That is democracy. Even the right to refuse to participate is democratic. So
well, just one more question.
And we took the report of the panel.
Just one more question on Ogun State. Yesterday, women loyal to one of the factions in Ogun State decided to demonstrate, and they went all the way to the party secretariat. They were received by the deputy governor. And what is being said now is that Ogun State women are planning to storm the party headquarters in Abuja, and that they will arrive there naked. What plans are you guys making to receive these naked women from Ogun State?
That's at the right time. It's okay. Well, I can assure you that APC will allow people to exercise their rights,
even when they protest nude,
want to do so, as long as they keep within, what the law allows. So the party is working daily to deepen democracy. And you have to demonstrate that by the actions you take. And you also have to demonstrate that by showing clearly that you operate by the rules. And so if the women want to demonstrate, demonstration itself, protest is part of democracy. It's within their rights to do so, as long as they keep within the provisions, I mean, the tenets of the law. So we have no issue with that. People come there to demonstrate, people come there to turn in petition, and we have a mechanism to address all of these issues fairly, so that everybody is sure that first and foremost, you're going to be listened to, and secondly, your issues will be addressed. And then, but you also know that the common denominator is, are we complying with the rules? That's the area where we can be faulted. So if you can't fault that, then, I mean, all other issues are not as real as they seem.
Let's look at the situation in Zamfara State. In Zamfara State, the governor, Abdulaziz Yari, who has been one of the major critics of the party chairman, Adams Oshiomhole, the position of INEC is that no primaries took place in that state, and that the APC cannot submit the names of candidates. But you have been quoted as saying that, in fact, the party conducted primaries in that state and that names have been submitted. Now, are you planning to go to court to challenge INEC if INEC at the end of the day rejects your candidates for Zamfara State?
Yeah, well, we know that what we have done is the right thing to do. We did our primaries in Zamfara. The issues that came from that are majorly resolved. We submitted before the deadline. So we don't have any problem. If at the end of the day we need to seek redress, we'll seek redress. But what you can be sure of is we are going to protect the integrity of the poll. And part of what we need to do is to ensure that our candidates had not denied the right to contest elections. And again, we all know that INEC, it is not within the powers of INEC to disqualify candidates. The laws are clear on that. It's not within your... If there's any issue at all, you have other political parties that are participating. They are the party to the issue, to the dispute. Then they are the one to go to court to say, no, the candidates from Zamfara for APC are not duly elected. So they have not done that. In Kano, for instance, PDP had no primary whatsoever. INEC has not written any letter. And whatever they have submitted in Kano, that is PDP, INEC has collected or received this from them. So we don't know where this is coming from, but we are not going to, have public exchanges with INEC. All we want to do is to ensure we stay by what the laws permit, and we are going to push our case to whatever level we need to push it to ensure that we get justice.
Well, Sahara Reporters has a trending story accusing the Oshiomhole-led National Working Committee of the APC of corruption. And the story is saying simply, I don't know whether you have seen it, that, look, positions were bought, that the final list that was submitted by the APC to INEC, that people had to pay between 15 million and 50 million naira to get those positions, to get names substituted. And, the conclusion is that the APC, which is the ruling party, is just as corrupt as anyone else. And I've not seen a response to that story.
I hope Sahara Reporters has the proof. And if they mention anybody's name, and the person also has a right to seek redress, and then Sahara Reporter may be running itself into troubles. Because I don't see where that is coming from. How is that possible that you're going to sell seats where you have 5 people contested for election and the result came from the field and the agents of all the aspirants also have the result? So how is that possible? there was even an appeal panel for whoever had issues to go to the appeal panel to submit his appeal, and then they listened to all of them. So I don't. The process was so transparent, and it's so clear. The rules are there. The game was open, was transparent. So I don't see how anybody can say that. But I want to advise Sahara Reporter to also be mindful that the laws are there to protect people from such defamatory publications.
But one other allegation, I mean, as part of the fallout of the primaries, is that some people are alleging that the APC has been hijacked by one man who has also been called a mini-god, you know, and a man who has assumed the role of a mini-god. And Governors Akeredolu, Abdulaziz Yari, Amosun, and others, they've been very clear. In fact, Governor Amosun of Osun State accused Oshiomhole of trying to cause problem in Osun State. And you have had cause to respond to some of these governors. Yeah, well, will you say they don't have a point?
They do not have any point whatsoever. If the chairman of APC, and by the way, I don't know why it's been singled out, because whatever has happened, the National Working Committee takes responsibility. Well, the chairman may be the face of the party, but it's not acting alone. We're all there. We take decisions together. We have a robust atmosphere for debate. And at the end of the day, we operate by what the laws permit. So, but you also understand where this is coming from. If you had gotten that latitude before to do whatever you would like in your own corner, but you now have a party that says, no, we must operate by the rules. This is democracy. People must be in charge. People must elect who they want. People must nominate their own candidates, not somebody sitting down somewhere dispensing favors. So this is what is going on. But you're going to also have resistance from what people have been used to. We know governors enjoy the right to dispense these favors, but if that is being taken away from them, as it should be, because this is democracy, and then you don't want them to complain. Some of them will complain, but I can assure you, even as we have been on this interview, we've mentioned just 4 or 5 governors, but even I can tell you that in real situation, you don't have more than 2 or 3 governors who are complaining. And by the time you go and speak to the merit of all these issues, you will find out that the complaints are basically about the issues of, I want to have so much power, but the party says, no, the law says you don't have such powers.
Anyway, I mean, I don't think it's just about the governors. I've cited the example of the governors, and I've given a few examples. There are probably others who are just as aggrieved. I mean, only yesterday, APC women came to the Secretariat to protest that they were promised, a certain percentage, about 35% representation affirmative action, but they ended up with just about 0.5%. And many of them, bought forms, and they alleged that their funds were just collected and the party marginalized them. So they see the APC as an anti-women party. There are also persons at other levels, all the way down to House of Assembly, the Senate, the National Assembly, whatever, who are also just as aggrieved. But you have been a perception manager, a reputation manager. With all of this crisis in the APC, do you think that the APC still stands a chance in the 2019 general elections?
Yeah, as I said at the start of this show, politics is about conflict and conflict resolution. The capacity of the party to provide the platform for people to ventilate their anger, for the issues to be resolved, would actually strengthen the party. And when you don't allow that, that is where the problem is. So the fact that the party allows all of that and responds to them are the necessary ingredients to actually strengthen the party. I can assure you that APC is coasting home to victory. it's obvious. It's pretty obvious. You know.
But you are talking about conflict resolution. But strong members of your party
Yeah.
are also saying that Oshiomhole is not ready to listen to anybody, and they are collecting signatures to have him removed. Do you see that possibility? And if it happens, what will be the implications for your party's preparedness for 2019 elections?
Yeah, we need to interrogate the process.
Even the wife of the
collecting...
president is protesting. Isn't that a fact?
Yeah, we need to interrogate the... We need to interrogate the process of collecting signatures. Is that what the constitution of the party says when you want to remove the chairman? The media needs to go beyond what is in the public and also carry out its duties. Is that what the constitution says, that when you have the signatures, that is one? Then again, we even heard that 3 days ago there was supposed to be a meeting by governors, and we knew there was nothing like that. As of today, no such meeting has held. So all these rumors flying around, you know, some people have this idea that the chairman should not be there because it is not allowing impunity. And they do not see what they want to happen is not happening. And then they begin to conjure all these things and then make it look like it's going to happen and the heavens is coming down. No, Nigeria is growing and democracy is growing and APC is driving that.
Well, before I let you go, Lanre, let me ask you a personal question. You are from Kwara State, and you are seen to be part of the Saraki political constituency. And here you are, spokesman for the APC, long after, you know, your alleged political principal has crossed over to the PDP. Do you see some kind of conflict in terms of what you are doing, or a certain kind of contradiction in terms of the politics in Kwara State, where you come from?
Okay, let me say clearly that I started active participation in politics since 1993. I have never had anything to do with the so-called Bukola Saraki dynasty. I've never had anything. I've never sat down one-on-one with him. I've never related with him in any way. Everybody in the state knows what I stand for. And up to today, I never had. Don't forget that in the last convention, I stood up, which had never happened in Kwara State. I stood up square up against his candidate as a demonstration of the fact that it does not own us. So it's a non-issue at all. I've never had anything to do with him. I've never, even when we find ourselves in the same political party, I don't relate with him at all, because I never believe in his principles. His politics are not the kind of politics I want to play. I'm in this for the interest of the people. And if I say anything that runs contrary to that, I run away from it. So it's not true. I don't have any, the issue of conflict does not even arise, because I've been on this path since 1993. I've never wavered.
Well, thank you very much, Lanre, for coming to the morning show. I'm sure we'll be talking to you again and again as we move towards the general elections in 2019. Thank you very much. Great pleasure having you here.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's time now for a short break.